the difference between a narcissist's indifference and yours. When it comes to narcissistic individuals, they tend to lack the empathy to care. They have an inability to understand how they may have hurt you. They can only use your feelings against you for their advantage. They lack interest in what you're doing or what you're achieving because they're usually envious of you. So the only interest they're going to pay you is if they can destroy you. They lack the sympathy, they lack the concern for anything you're going through. Share good news with a narcissistic individual, they will talk about how they've done something far better than you. Share bad news with a narcissistic individual and they will talk about something they've suffered far worse than you. This isn't a two-way conversation to show that they understand you or that you understand them. If someone comes along and they've lost a loved one and you've lost a loved one, you can relate and you can sort of build a connection over it. You have that understanding of how they're feeling to an extent and you can try to help them. With a narcissistic individual, they can't relate to how you're feeling. They only relate to how they're feeling and they want to bring the attention solely back onto themselves. With a narcissistic individual, they will have a complete disinterest in anything that you're doing unless it's going to negatively impact them, in which case they will try to sabotage you, or unless it's going to them, they perceive you as doing better than them. So then they either want to take the credit or again, they want to sabotage it for you. Narcissistic individuals, due to their lack of empathy, lack the concern for your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions. When it comes to a narcissistic individual, if you have a different opinion to theirs, you've betrayed them. You've gone against them. They don't take too kindly to this. They seek to punish you. With a narcissist and their indifference, it's about that power and that control. They're looking to maintain their influence over you, maintain their influence over the actions you take in life. And more often than not, they will show a lack of interest in something that you're planning on doing. The only time they kind of do display any interest is they'll give you advice that seems helpful but isn't so helpful. And when it goes wrong for you and you take responsibility and you go to discuss it with them and they just turn around and claim, see, I said that wouldn't work. Or if you recognise their sabotage and try to bring that up, they turn around and say, I was only trying to help. How could you, of all people, think that of me? They're looking to play the hero or the victim in the story. Now, when it comes to your indifference towards a narcissist, what you will often notice is you try and you try and you try in so many different ways to understand them, to help them, to support them, to communicate with them, to forgive them. You recognise that you're not perfect within yourself, that people make mistakes, people make errors in judgments. It's how we learn, it's how we grow. So you can be extremely supportive of them, not recognising that they are taking full advantage of your kindness, of your generosity, and of your forgiveness, to a point where they do something that completely breaks you, where you can no longer be around them, you can no longer deal with them. You can recognise that this person, as much as you care about them, is only ever going to destroy you. And then you can have the difficult task of making a choice to walk away when you really don't want to, or when you get driven to a point where you want to get them back. You feel like you want revenge, a normal emotion when you've been betrayed, but what you're after is justice. Now, if you're after that revenge, that can lead to that indifference, because you can get the understanding that narcissistic people don't like not being the centre of attention. They don't like not being your main primary focus. They don't like you not being concerned about them. They don't like you not being interested in them. It wounds their ego. So that can jumpstart you into showing a narcissistic individual that indifference. However, you can also still care, still want to help, kind of pity them, but recognise that you need to step away from them. You need to stop showing an interest in their life. You need to stop reacting to them. You need to stop sympathising with them. You need to stop allowing them to guilt trip you. And it can be a difficult journey with lots of hiccups along the way. However, when you recognise that their pity plays are manipulation, their guilt trips are manipulation, when they use the obligation against you, things they've done for you, after all I've done for you, it's manipulation. You can stop showing them the sympathy, stop showing them the concern, stop breaking down who you are as a person to serve who they are as a person, because it just ends up leaving you resenting them to some extent, which is a toxic place to be in. So you can start using indifference in order to protect yourself from a narcissistic person when you've just had enough of their lies. When it comes to your indifference against a narcissistic person, yes, it is a narcissistic behaviour. However, it's not always used by a narcissistic individual. And sometimes you do have to use narcissistic behaviours against narcissistic individuals in order to protect yourself. Narcissists thrive off that attention, that excessive attention, that validation, that praise, that recognition. And that's usually one of their driving forces, their motives behind doing anything is to get that attention, that praise, that recognition, that admiration, that gratitude, to use whatever they've done for you against you. Every action is a transaction with a narcissist. And then once you've learned this, you can recognise that you need to stop thanking them, praising them, congratulating them. You need to stop showing them that interest. You need to stop listening to them. You need to stop sympathising with them. Or you can continue sympathising with them just from a safe distance. You need to keep a safe distance from those who are willing to exploit and manipulate you. When it comes to indifference, the difference is the intentions behind the behaviour, the motivation behind the behaviour. Although indifference is a narcissistic behaviour, it doesn't necessarily come from a narcissistic individual. So it's about recognising what your intentions are. Because just because you're using a narcissistic behaviour does not make you a narcissistic individual. However, narcissistic individuals use narcissistic behaviour to coercively control you into living life on their terms. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have several books out on Amazon: 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People If You Cannot Go No Contact, a Narcissist Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, and how to create boundaries around those who have no respect for your boundaries. The links for those will be in the description also if you'd like to go and check them out. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.